One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey everybody, whoa, what a day. It has turned into what an evening. These people are going nuts. It is he went completely nuclear on them, and worse than going nuclear on them, he bamboozled them, or rather they bamboozled themselves. They never saw it coming. And because they never saw it coming, they're completely freaking out. I mean, just bat poop crazy, off the wall, everything. So let me show you a couple of different things right now. Somebody said, what? Pete Hegseth is live? Where? Wait 1 second. If Pete Hegseth is live, see, I'm fluid like that. Let me see if I can see if Pete Hegseth is live somewhere. And if he's live, I'll go ahead and bring it in. If somebody said that, I don't see him. No, I do not see him live someplace. Let me check one place else just to make sure. Just wouldn't want to miss him if he is indeed live where I could pull the feed in. All right, I don't see him live anywhere, so let me just continue with what I was saying. By the way, if you guys ever notice that something's live that you'd like to see, give me a second and I'll see if I can pull it in, but I don't see Pete Hegseth live. So, in any event, here we go. Oh, it's a Fox interview. Well, let me see if I can pull it in. Give me 2 seconds. I can adjust on the fly here. Maybe I can pull it in. You know what? Here's what we'll do. I'll do my show, and then when I catch a break, I'll just download the entire interview. How about that? Maybe we can do that. Because if I jump now, I'm probably not going to get it in its entirety. You'd miss it. All right. I got a whole bunch of stuff to cover anyway. A whole bunch of different stuff to cover. So let's start over. Welcome. How you guys doing tonight? Let's get into a bunch of this stuff. You ready? All right. So, I really feel as though the Democrats got caught flat-footed. I don't think they understood what was going to happen, even though he, as he always does, drops the breadcrumbs and tells you, here's what we're going to do. Here's exactly what I'm going to do. They don't seem to know. So after everything was all said and done, those of you guys who watched this afternoon, thanks for showing up. It was odd Muriel Bowser wasn't at the press conference. And we thought, or at least I thought, she'd be there to show her support. Well, she got bamboozled, she didn't show up, and she got completely stuck. So after she heard what President Trump heard, she tried to do everything to unwind it. Too late. The die was already cast. This is from MSNBC. It says the news out of D.C. Mayor's press conference is that her lawyers apparently do not believe they have any grounds to challenge President Trump's declaration of a D.C. crime emergency. The city appears to be surrendering to a federal takeover of its police department. Oh well, he told you it was coming, and now you're finding out after the fact that, the Constitution says otherwise. Another one. Breaking. Sources close to Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser say she is furious, as her lawyers are now telling her she has no grounds to even challenge. Never mind put up a fight, she has no grounds to even challenge President Trump and his federalization of D.C. due to the declared crime emergency, and that she must essentially surrender to the federal takeover. This is beautiful. I mean, he couldn't have done it any better. Couldn't have done it any better. I try to find sources I really trust. Here's from Eric Doherty. Breaking. It has just been revealed that D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has looked into all legal options she can take to prevent President Trump's takeover. But she found no options, and she admitted she can't stop him. The mayor is now furious. It turns out everything Trump is doing is legal and constitutional, and that's driving them crazy, because now they know this is what he's going to be doing, and he's going to try and use this as a model for other blue cities. They're terrified. They are completely freaking out. I love the fact that he's got them at this point seemingly boxed into a corner, and they don't know what to do. I don't understand how these people didn't see what was coming after every single one of us. Every single one of us had been talking about this and saying, it's coming. It's most assuredly coming. Here is the actual order, or the proclamation rather, where he's declaring it a crime emergency, as the term is going to be now. Crime emergency. Post it again. I keep telling you guys, whitehouse.gov, you can find all of this stuff. Declaring a crime emergency in the District of Columbia by the authority vested in me as President of the United States, Constitution, yada yada, including Section 740 of the District of Columbia. Somebody dug into this really deep. And crime is out of control, where he lays out the differences, and you can go ahead and download all of this, but they are screwed. There's nothing they can do. They are completely stuck. So what happens when people get stuck? What happens when they have no moves and they become desperate and they're stuck into a corner? That's when they become dangerous. And you can expect they're going to try and do everything they can to cause all kinds of disruption in Washington, D.C. and in other cities. They're going to be foolish to do it in Washington, D.C., because that would just play into his hands. He would just bring in more National Guard. Okay, we'll put them all in jail. And we'll let, Judge Janine take care of it. The gentleman who's going to be in charge of basically the police at this point, where is it? That's this gentleman. Breaking. Trump announces that DEA Administrator Terry Cole will be the interim federal commissioner of the D.C. Police. So this guy here now assumes control of the the Metropolitan Police Department. He moved extremely fast. He didn't take any chances. When he rolled in with overwhelming force, knowing what he wanted to do, and the Democrats were caught completely flat-footed. Oh yeah, they're not in town. They all thought they were getting over on Trump. Boy, did they make a big mistake. boy, did they make a big mistake. So I'm going to roll with some content that I have for you. But before that, I want to talk to you about one of my sponsors, a favored sponsor right here. So I want you to hear this before I roll the sponsor information. I think some of you might have some interest in this 30-second video.
A lot of people want to know, what's the Bobby Kennedy diet?
Basically, it's a carnivore diet, so it's mainly meat and then fermented vegetable, anything fermented. So a lot of yogurt, a good yogurt without sugar in it.
Kefir.
And then coleslaw and kimchi and...
Kimchi. Did he say kimchi? Did he know that Brightcore was a sponsor of the Fanfare with Barry Cunningham show? The Secretary of Health? RFK Jr. himself says, I'm eating a whole bunch of kimchi. I don't know if I need to roll the rest of the spot here. That was probably the biggest endorsement you could possibly have. Get yours. Oh, wow. And you know what? They don't even know I found that. I just found that on my own. I went, hey, man, this is perfect. I don't know if I need to say anything. But I will. Did you know a dangerous amount of microplastics are now being found in our water, our food, our bloodstream, even our brains? These tiny plastic particles, often invisible to the naked eye, carry toxic chemicals like BPA that disrupt hormones, damage DNA, and inflame our organs. They affect everything from metabolism to fertility, and they've even been linked to cancer, neurological disorders, autoimmune diseases, and developmental issues in children. The worst part, there's no way to avoid the exposure of microplastics. It's everywhere, everywhere. But there is a way to fight back, and it starts down here in your gut. Your gut is your first line of defense, a healthy microbiome that can bind and break down microplastic toxins before they poison your cells. But if your gut is compromised, those toxins sneak right through, wreaking havoc on your immune system. You may feel that if you get sick and tired a lot. Your energy level drops, your digestion doesn't feel well, your skin doesn't look as vibrant as it usually does, and then you even get a lot of brain fog as well, all due to the microplastics. That's why healing your gut isn't optional anymore. It's essential. Restore your gut flora with the power of Kimchi 1. Because in a world full of plastic, your gut needs to be bulletproof. Today you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link as you see on the screen and use the code BARRY for 25% off the order. Or for an even better deal, call the people at Brightcore, my friends, for up to 50% off and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738 and tell them, hey, RFK Jr. told you it was a good deal. RFK Jr. said, yeah, you might want to take some kimchi. You might want to eat it too. Well, this is easier than eating it, or actually preparing it and eating it. So, you just heard from the Secretary of Health. Yep, he said it himself. All right, so let's talk about how these people may turn a bit dangerous. Not my words, their own.
Because of a public relations crisis relating to the Epstein file. He doesn't want to release the Epstein file, so he wants everybody to look in another direction. In any event, if he really cared...
Okay, we just heard...
That might be the weakest argument I've heard against this. Oh, he's just doing this because of, the Epstein file. Sorry, bud. Nobody's buying that crap anymore. Sell it to somebody who cares. There's plenty of Epsteiniacs out there who I'm sure would glom onto that. Nope, this has nothing to do with Epstein. Now, what I want to show you in these opening clips are the responses from the Democrats and the media. And what you're going to notice that these are all the people in the suits. These are all the people in studios doing interviews. Not a single one of these people are the people who actually live in Washington, D.C.
Mayor Bowser and the city's police chief, they held a press conference acknowledging that the president has this authority and talking about partnering with the federal government. I know you talked about January 6th, your disappointment in the way the president handled it then, but can you partner with the president who's talked about taking over your city's law enforcement?
We welcome in D.C. I think every local official will tell you this. anyone who wants to partner with us in good faith and to follow the facts and the data. Some of the facts include the fact that the worst roads in the district are federal roads. The most littered parts of the district are federal territories. So we've had a partnership with the federal government, but partnership and federal overreach are different things. Look out, California. Look out, Illinois. Look out, New York. It's coming to you next. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. But you're going to have to lose the whole overreach BS. It's not overreach. It's constitutional. It's the law. You know, things that you guys don't like to follow. You know, that little pesky thing called the Constitution that gets in your way all the time, that the judges keep spanking you about, that you're trying to destroy. That little thing called the Constitution. But you are correct. Look out, California. Look out, New York. Look out, Illinois. It's coming. If there's anything you can be absolutely confident right now, is that this is going to continue in other cities. And so, of course, it's got them completely freaked out. He can go do all of the immigration and deportation stuff he wants, and now he can come in and federalize your cities. It's their worst nightmare, because just like everything else I've been telling you, it must suck to be a Democrat right now and have absolutely no power. Nothing. Nothing they can do. I've been saying it over and over, and now you're starting to see it play out. They're getting steamrolled. There's nothing they can do. You've never dealt with a president who's willing to come in with a hammer the way he's coming, which means we got to get it done, because they will turn around and do it to us. All these time we see these influencers bitching on X and everything, they're like, shut up, get in line, get it done. Forget about your clicks and likes and everything else. We need to coalesce, because if they get back in power, we're screwed. We're screwed worse than they are. Because we got a lot of limp-wristed, weak people on our side. These people, they will go to the mattress. They will go all the way down to make sure that they can find some way to hold on to power. We need to feel that way.
We have to stand up now and say federal overreach is wrong.
And
so, Madam Mayor, one other area where you may confront the potential use of the National Guard in your city is the upcoming Olympics, as you are set to host the Olympic Games. Right. And the president has promised to use the National Guard to provide security. Would you welcome that?
Sure. I mean, that is completely appropriate. Now, we will have, Secret Service is in charge, but you absolutely expect a federal response. When we have over 200 countries here, meaning heads of state of over 200 countries, of course you have the military involved. That is routine. But that is not the military driving up and down the streets of the city like, unfortunately, the Marines did. You remember, we didn't just have 4,000 National Guard members. We also had I think it was about 700 U.S. Marines.
And those 700 Marines and 4,000 National Guardsmen and Guardswomen cleaned up your city to a certain extent, to the point where you're freaking out because you don't have anybody to wash the floors in the hotels. And also the highways now, people can actually drive on them. People's quality of life improved. Isn't that why you're there? You're there to increase the quality of life for your residents. But that's not what they're worried about. They're worried about because they know they're absolutely screwed. Understand, while this is going on, you got the people from Texas out there in California hiding in bushes and stuff because they don't want to get dragged back to Texas. So essentially, Illinois and California are harboring criminals. You want to talk about overreach? What you're doing is actually illegal. What President Trump is doing is completely legal. Big different contrast there. Everything the Democrats are doing right now, they're scratching against their claws. They can't grab onto anything. And so this is the perfect opportunity to put the boot on these people's neck and just stomp them out. It is so bad that Jerry Nadler came out today supporting Zohar the Great up in New York. They don't have any leadership, so they're throwing all their chips in behind this commie up in New York. How bad is that? How bad is it that you have no leadership and you're thinking, well, looks like this people like this commie. Let's go ahead and support him. Thinking that's going to work on a broad base? The hell no.
Really inappropriate, a political stunt, and that was not needed. And I believed then, and I believe now, that Los Angeles was a test case, and I think D.C. is a test case as well for the president.
Since you thought L.A. was a test case, then what they're going to do is refine things, and now they're going to roll it out in D.C. She's absolutely right. So you should be calling all your blue staters and saying it's coming. Oh, it's definitely coming. I have no doubt that it's coming. The question we need to ask these people is, what are you going to do about it? Because you know they're going to fight it. They always talk about, we got to fight this, we got to fight that. Well, yeah, go ahead, fight it.
Say, well, we can take over your city whenever we want, and I'm the commander-in-chief, and I can use the troops whenever we want. I think that that is an abuse of our troops, and I think it's an overreach of presidential powers for the president to literally take over law enforcement in a city that has not requested the help. And it's not as though, I mean, the protests that happened in Los Angeles were over about maybe 1 square mile of a 500 square mile city. Wasn't appropriate, wasn't needed.
By whose definition? See, that's one of the problems that these Democrats have. They just completely try to pretend it's no big deal, nothing's happening. There's only a few deaths. There's only a few buildings burned down. There's only a few riots. There's only a few cots that got, people threw cinder blocks at. Just a few. As if that's okay. I don't know where you live, but if I was like driving down the road and people were standing on an overpass throwing cinder blocks, I don't really care that it's just under this bridge. That's the bridge I'm driving under. And they try to let everybody, it's no big deal. No, it's just them acting up. No, you can't have a city like that. You can't expect people to just acquiesce to violence. And that's because that's what they feel.
Words mean nothing. Actions mean everything. Watch this. Watch it very closely. Ask a lot of questions. Focus those cameras on everything that's going on, because this president is trying to lead us into what could be called a civil war.
They keep saying it. They keep saying it. They want this. They're spoiling for this fight. I hope you're ready. Because, again, you've got no moves. There's nothing you can do. And because there's nothing you can do, that's when you become very dangerous. That's when you really have to watch your six. Because now all bets are off. There's nothing you can do, and you got to stop it, and you got to do something. So what do? It looks like it's going to be a civil war. Well, we know you won't be on the front line, Maxine. Your wig won't even maintain. You'll be gone. You'll be in your mansion somewhere hoping that there's a whole bunch of plebes doing some stuff. Go out there and burn it up. But everything they're saying is playing right into Trump's hands. They don't get it. It's like Trump said back for the last 4 years and said, here's what I need to do. I need to find a way to completely take away all of their normal options. They've gotten so comfortable doing the same stuff over and over and over again. And if I take away what their normal options are, they're not going to have anything. So if you know, and I know, and we've watched for years, all the way back to Rodney King, that the only thing the Democrats can do is go out and act a fool, riot, try to hurt people, burn buildings, if that's all they can do. Well, if you take that away from them, what's next? And if you take it away from them by force, overwhelming force, by putting Marines and National Guards and everybody else in these cities, what do? Nothing. There's nothing they can do. And so I sincerely hope they try to gin up enough trouble, try to do enough crap, so President Trump can get out there and say, roll them out there, Pete. We need more force here. We need more force there. tell me what you think they'll do at that point. Let me take a few comments. We need fresh meat in our government who loves America and the American people. Mad Max was talking to homeless people in her district who were begging for help, and she told them to go home. Some of you guys are mean. And this is a big thing now, also shutting down most of their money. So understand what you're looking at. You're looking at cornered animals. And the more cornered they become, of course, the more dangerous they are. They have little to very few legal options. Hey, they ran right to their lawyers. Nope. He got you. There's nothing we can do. Nothing? Nope. No standing? Nope. You get thrown out of court immediately. So now what do? What's their next move? Anybody can see what their next move is because the only thing out there is violence. But like American Nana says here, what do they do when they don't have any money? President Trump is setting a big bear trap for the blue cities. Huge. Huge. Don't do it. I'm telling you, people, don't act stupid. You don't have the numbers. You don't have the weaponry. You don't even have the law on your side. You're done. But just be careful because they're gonna lash out. All right, so I'm gonna get into the next part here. I have to apologize. I can't show the movie Hillbilly Elegy tonight. I'll do it one day this week, and it's not because I don't want to, is I haven't gotten it cleared yet. I haven't got it approved. I have to get approval to show some of these things, and the people didn't get back to me by 7 o'clock, so I can't show it, and I don't want to get in trouble. So bear with me. I apologize. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and then we'll see what happens. All right. Let's see here. It's Popcorn Tuesday. Oh, okay. I'm going to show you some more popcorn stuff for you as we talk about their loss of power at this point.
I've said before, and I'll repeat, that I believe that the president's view of D.C. is shaped by his COVID-era experience during his first term. And it is true that those were more challenging times related to some issues. It is also true that we experienced a crime spike post-COVID. But we worked quickly to put laws in place and tactics that got violent offenders off our streets and gave our police officers more tools.
Well, you're talking like it's already been fixed when we've seen the numbers. Again, when President Trump put up those charts today and handed out the information, the argument that they came back with is, it's not that bad. Well, what's not that bad? It's not as bad as it was, a year ago. You mean when it was 30 per 100,000? Now it's 24. It's not that bad. People are still getting killed. What do you want us to do? They're still living in the streets. They're still nasty. There's still garbage everywhere. But we're trying. If she truly thought that Trump's response was based upon what he saw a couple of years ago, then what have you been doing the last couple of years? If you knew that people were looking at what's, and you didn't do anything, what did you expect was going to happen? We are 7 months into his presidency. 7 months. And he had told you in many speeches, we need to clean up D.C. We need to clean up D.C. We need to clean up D.C. What did you think was going to happen? Any one of us who grew up and our parents said, clean your room, clean your room, clean your room. You only got a couple warnings before something happened. And so now, during this part of the press conference, you're going to see an evolution. An evolution from, I don't really like what he's doing, and here's what I'm going to do, to, OF, he got me. In a span of about 8 minutes. I don't know who talked to her or whispered in the ear, but she realizes, I'm done. I got had. I wasn't smart enough to see what was coming. Continue.
This is why we have seen a huge decrease in crime because of those efforts. We have been able to reverse that 2023 crime spike.
Now notice, Again, I'm showing these in succession so you can see that the politicians and the pundits are saying there's nothing wrong. You know, things are much better now. I mean, you'll see it tonight. If you once you get off here, if you go tune on any of these channels, it's not that bad. But they're not talking to the actual people who live there. And so all of this is just one choreographed response to make people feel like Trump overreached. Well, why aren't you talking to the people who live there? Now here's the second part of her speech.
We don't, I think I speak for all Americans, we don't believe it's legal to use the American military against American citizens on American soil.
All right, so you heard that, right? So he was wrong because it was back, when Jabademic was happening. And, I speak for most Americans, and no, you don't. I speak for most Americans in saying, no, it's not right for the military. So she's basically segueing into, nah, this ain't happening. All this is happening in a span of a couple minutes, and you'll see the turn.
I'm not a lawyer, and but I think that's a fairly widely held fact.
A few moments later.
We know, however, as most have heard from the president's press conference, that he has prerogatives in D.C. unlike anywhere else in the country.
I'm like, how did she do that contortion? Who slipped that in front of her and said, yeah, hey, Mayor, read this. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. Went from being a militant to completely submissive in minutes.
Including his authority given by our home rule charter to require the mayor, to require me to supply services of the Metropolitan Police Department. And he also has control and the ability to deploy the National Guard.
Oh, it's overreach. He can't do this. He can't do this in my city. What? You got a note for me? Hey, what? Oh. Wow. Really? I got to read that. Ooh. So much for bitching about it, huh, honey? Somebody told you, shh, ixnay. Don't piss off the Trump, shh. And so she had to come out there and allocute in front of everybody. Yes, yeah, he's got the authority. Yeah, he's got the power. He can roll out the National Guard. Yeah. I'm just going to go back and open up a bottle, okay? Because how did this happen? Which is a good question. A good question to ask right now to any Democrat is, how did you let this happen? There has got to be conversations going on all over Democrat circles right now. How did this happen? Because questions on our side, like, man, how did he do this? So we're both asking the same questions, but from different perspectives. We're like, oh man, boy, did he just come in here, pow, pow. And they're on the other side going, how in the hell did he do this? How do all our high-priced lawyers, how did everybody we employ, how did all these congressional people and senators, how did they all miss it? Every single one of them. And at some point, they're going to have to realize this guy's running circles around you. And as you and I know, there's been a war room board or something. And like, it's August 11th. Roll with this one. Take that off the board and put it in play. And the problem is, by flooding the zone, they don't know what tomorrow brings. None of us do. But you know something's coming. You know he didn't check his watch and say, it's Monday, I'm checking out. Melania and I are heading down to Palm Beach, going to hang out at the beach. No, something else is coming. And none of us know, and none of them know, and everything they're having to do is completely reactionary. That's a scary position to be in as a politician. That's a scary position to be in as a business person, where you have no idea what your competition, your opponent is going to do next. And because you have no idea, you can't defend it. I did an interview today with the Secretary of State out in Wyoming. You'll hear it probably tomorrow. And he's like, he just beat Mark Elias. Mark Elias went all the way out to Wyoming to try and stop what Wyoming was doing with election integrity. And he got spanked. There's too much for them to try and stop at this point. And what the biggest thing I think that's happening is the media is completely feckless. There's nothing the media can do either. In fact, it's so bad that even Trump's team is calling these people out. I mean, I didn't want to show one of the things he said because Stephen Chung is he went beast mode on these people. And hold on, let me see if I can show you this. But he put up something that was just, oh my goodness, did you really go there? I'd have to find it, Stephen Chung. But they're now calling these people out. And one of the people who got called out was indeed Nancy Pelosi. Donald Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th. Okay, racism, January 6th. That's all you got. And Epstein, when our capital was under violent attack and lives were at stake. Now he's activating the D.C. Guard to distract from his incompetent mishandling of tariffs, healthcare, education, and immigration. She actually put immigration on there. She actually put in, he's doing it to distract from how he's handled the border. Well, the person, unfortunately, that responded to her and ratioed the hell out of her was Chief Stephen Sund. He is the former chief of police for the United States Capitol Police. Ma'am, it's long past time to be honest with the American people. On January 3rd, I requested National Guard assistance, but your sergeant at arms denied it. Under federal law 2 U.S.C. 1970, I was prohibited from calling them in without specific approval. That same day, Carol Corbin at the Pentagon offered National Guard support, but I was forced to decline because I lacked the legal authority. On January 6th, while the Capitol was under attack, and despite my repeated calls, your Sergeant at Arms again denied my urgent request for over 70 agonizing minutes. Running it up the chain, he said, for your approval. When I needed assistance, it was denied. Yet when it suited you, you ordered fencing topped with concertina wire and surrounded the Capitol with thousands of armed National Guards when she wanted it to happen. They're being called out. They're being called out by people who actually were there on January 6th. And it's got to be embarrassing because people like Nancy Pelosi know all they have is lies. And now people aren't afraid to say, hey, calling bullshit. Here's what really happened, Nancy. I still have my notes from that day when I tried to get the National Guard out and you said no. And so as you're watching this stuff unfold, you can see the Democrats are trying to counterpunch, but it's basically, old ass Nancy trying to throw a punch. And people are like swatting her hand or what way and go, no, here's what really happened. Bam. And it's right on her post, so she can't even get away from it. That's on her post, right there. Bam. They're lying, and they are afraid. They're lying because they're caught. So let's finish off with what's her name? Muriel Bowser.
But let me be clear, as our Home Rule Charter is also clear, and the President's executive order restates. Chief Pamela Smith is the chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, and its 3,100 members work under her direction. The Home Rule Charter requires the mayor to provide the services of MPD during special conditions of an emergency, and we will follow the law. Though there's a question about the subjectivity of that declaration. In fact, the chief has already provided a high-level liaison and point of contact with the federal government and made those initial contacts.
All right, so she made those initial contacts. She tried to throw down, hey, I'm the chief of police here, Miss DEI hire. And then subsequent to this meeting, Trump threw down document number 2. I showed you his declaration of the emergency, and then he followed that up with this document. This document is called, let me bring this up so you guys can see it. Again, this is on whitehouse.gov, and let's take a look at this document here. This document here is a little bit shorter, and it's much more to the point. Restoring law and order in the District of Columbia. And it says, memorandum for the Secretary of Defense. So this was issued to Pete Hegseth. Background as president, blah, blah, blah. Local government lost control, yada, yada, yada. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to go ahead and you're going to mobilize the District of Columbia National Guard pursuant to my authority under the Constitution and the laws of the United States and District of Columbia. I direct the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to mobilize the National Guard and order members to active service in such numbers as he deems necessary to address the epidemic of crime in our nation's capital. The mobilization and duration of duty shall remain in effect until I determine the conditions of law and order have been restored. Further, I direct the Secretary of Defense to coordinate with state governors and authorize the orders of any additional members of the National Guard to active service as he deems necessary. So he can contact other states and say, send more people in. This memorandum is not intended and it does not create any right or benefit, yada, yada, yada. But what it does do is say, get it done. So he has now the power to bring National Guard from Florida, Georgia, wherever. Bring them in. And now I want you guys in any number that I deem necessary to secure these different areas. That's flipping huge. That's actually scary. They're going to surround this city. It reminds me of Bruce Willis during the movie The Siege. Here we go. So Mario Bowser and your chief deputy there, DEI deputy, you got nothing. You're completely feckless. You're useless. Stand aside. We'll tell you what to do. And I've already named her replacement. Her replacement is going to be this gentleman. So right there, there's who's going to be running the show in D.C. DEA Administrator Terry Cole is the interim federal commissioner of the D.C. Police. That chief lady, you ain't got nothing. You're done. So again, the Democrats don't have anywhere to go here. Let's continue.
The executive order is also clear that the president has delegated his authority to make requests of us to Attorney General Pam Bondi. I have reached out to Attorney General Bondi and hope to schedule a meeting soon.
The briefing.
I'll get back to her when I feel like it. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry for that meeting because you mean nothing. I've taken over your city. You know, when you walk outside and you see policemen, none of them are going to do what you want them to do, except for maybe your own personal detail. Other than that, nobody's listening to you. Get your check, hang out, get paid, and do nothing. Look pretty, do whatever you need to do, but you just stay out of our way. Imagine that. Imagine being clipped at the nuts that hard where you got nothing. You can go out there and, I don't know, shake some hands at a parade, but you have no authority right now. Whew. Democrats, I don't know what you're going to do at this point. All right, so you guys are seeing it is only scary to those breaking the law and those squatting in the streets. Exactly. Miss Bowser, you are screwed. Yep, might be a good time for her to go on vacation. She'll be on TV everywhere now. Because now this is all she's got. The Democrats the Democrats didn't have any nuts to begin with. You are correct. This is what I voted for, to protect Americans from the evil and corrupt government that they are. Absolutely. Muriel should resign as a mayor in disgrace. No, she wants that check. I don't know what the salary is. Her salary is, but she's getting paid. She ain't doing nothing. She's on hiatus, basically. Muriel, DC mayor, now has the option to be in the winning team. Good point. Very good point. Meter maid Muriel. Oh, y'all just rough, man. Just absolutely rough. All right, so let's continue with here.
They gave us a packet of information to show us some of the arrests that were made over the weekend as this starting to ramp up or increase in federal law enforcement took place. And they were fairly low-level criminals. It was somebody with possession or a DUI at one point. And there were only 5 of them, I believe, listed in this packet. So it's unclear. You know, he's talking about this major escalation in violent crime, but that is not quite clear from the packet of information they gave us here.
Why? All right, so again, they're euphemizing. It's not that bad. What's the problem here? It was 5 people who did some stuff. See, it's easy for you now know that these people lie at the drop of a hat. They have been proven to be liars, and this is becoming worse for them. Because it's easy for anybody with a camera and a microphone to actually go talk to residents. You just walk down the street. Now it's safe. Now it's actually safe. Hey, so how was it like yesterday? Oh my God, you don't know. You don't want to know what it was like in here. I couldn't come out. But they're up in their studios and wherever, and hey, it's not that bad. Who are you trying to impress? See, that's one of the things is that obviously the people in Washington know better. This is to probably try and hold the people at home in Chicago at bay. No, everything's fine. This was wrong for him to do. Listen to this idiot.
Is this issue, and again, you're going to get into the fact check of what is wrong about his figures or not, but why is this the top of the President of the United States agenda today? And I think that's an important question for us to think about as we think about everything that's on his plate. Why is taking over law enforcement in the District of Columbia? Now, he made the argument as to why, and that it's a capital city, and that the way he sees it is that it is crime-ridden and needs to be changed. But still, why is the President of the United States putting that front and center? So that's a question.
He just said, he told us, but why is he doing this? The problem that the media is having right now, and probably a lot of their viewers, is the contrast. When you're only looking or normally seeing an ineffective, complete puppet who has to be in bed by 12 in the afternoon, if the last 4 years told these Democrats anything, is presidents don't do anything. They go to the beach and sit around, they're under the umbrella, and the vice president cracks open 8 bottles of wine, and there's nobody doing anything. There was nobody minding the store for the last 4 years. They got comfortable. As you watched the press conference today, one of the things that kept coming out, and before it began, I even said, I'm like, I haven't seen this many people here, since we've been covering these press conferences. That should tell you something right there. President Trump goes into the press conference room, and they all flock because, oh my God, the president's in here. We haven't seen this in like 4 years. So as you're seeing things, why? Why is he doing this? Because he's acting. He's getting stuff done. That's why you can't understand it. You think that the president should only be looking at 1 page of something and then take 2 months to, talk about this. When every single day he's doing something else and he's basically confessing to you they can't keep up.
I sort of try to think about as we put this into perspective. But then, Dana, as you were noting, yes, this is a dramatic moment, but it also feels to me like dipping into a well that President Trump has gone to time and time again in the first term and this term. The tactics here may be more amped up and dramatic, but the going after this city or other cities as sort of crime-ridden, this was the heart of many of the campaigns and political agenda that Trump puts before voters. And so to me, I see him dipping back into a well.
He's dipping back into a well because you never did anything about the cities. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, are these people this obtuse? Do they not understand that the words coming out of their mouth underscore why the president is acting? If it was something we've heard before, then why haven't you done anything about it? If you knew that this was what people like me and people like you wanted, and we wanted to see cities cleaned up, and we wanted to see these derelicts off the street, why didn't you do anything? This isn't a surprise. The only thing that's a surprise, you're like, I can't believe he's actually doing it. And like somebody in the chat said here, he's got a team. He's not doing anything. He hatched the plan. He did the press conference. Other people are now executing. But they can't even admit that because the other guy didn't do anything. And so they're besides themselves trying to come up with stuff they can talk to their limited audiences because nobody's buying your BS anymore. And every statement you're making, you're underscoring his need for action. And they don't realize you're saying, hey, it's been like this for a while now. Why are we worrying about it today? Because people are dying. Doesn't matter if it's 20 a month, 30 a month, 50 a month, 10 a month. Why is it okay? I don't understand, especially, you're always talking racism, right? You're always calling Trump racist. Why is it okay that so many of these black people are dying? So much to the point where it's like, yeah, it's not that bad. There's only 10 of them got killed last week. If it was you and your family, I bet you'd feel different. But now it's no big deal. Hey, man, I don't think we need this kind of presence. Well, let me ask you this, Mr. CNN dude here. What do you think Washington, D.C. would look like if it's cleaned up? Have you pictured that and said, if Washington, D.C. was safe, how many visitors would be in that city? I'd go. I'd like to see the Washington Monument again. I've never been to the Lincoln. I've been to Jefferson. I would love to go stay in a hotel for a weekend up there and go see the monuments. I'd love it. I would love to walk the mall and then go back to a hotel and have dinner. I would love it. Why do you think people don't go? And so contrast that with what happens with tourism if all of a sudden people start spreading the word, hey man, it's safe. It's clean. You're going to love New York. Oops, I'm sorry. Euphemism. Freudian slip. You're going to love Washington, D.C. More people are going to go. It's very easy to get to. 2 airports. Train goes right through the city. Right up 95. Boom, you're there. You don't think people in Idaho and Montana and all these other people would love to go to the Capitol, to go to the mall, to see the monuments, to visit the White House? You don't think a lot of people would want to go? Absolutely. You don't think a lot of school groups wouldn't want to go? They're not thinking. President Trump as a businessman is thinking, I can really pump up this economy. Didn't hear one person talking about that today. Not one was talking about the effects of a safe Washington, D.C. and its return on investment. How many of you have never been to Washington, D.C., or if you have been, haven't gone back in a while, went, nah, can't take my wife there. Nope, can't take the kids there. But give it 30 days, and the word gets out, and people are like, man, you can have a good time there. It's beautiful. It's clean. There's no homeless people. There's no crime. What do you think is going to happen? That's not something they're even addressing. It could bring in literally billions into the Washington, D.C. economy. Hotels, food, merchandise, travel. Boom. But What do you mean? It's always been this way. Time to fix it.
Something he feels is a strong suit and where he thinks he has stronger footing, the way he does with immigration or border security, which to me also then begs the question, well, what is he a little nervous about over here if he needs to dip into this well right now on this topic?
Yeah, getting reaction.
That make any sense to you? They think that he's nervous about something over here and he's nervous about that, so he's now doing this because he's nervous about that. They can't even comprehend what this guy is doing. I try to bring it up to you so you can understand there is obviously a war room somewhere where they have gamed out what they're going to do and when they're going to do it and who's going to run it. This didn't happen overnight. I told you that this afternoon. This was an operation that they put together over a period of time and said, do we have all the pieces? Yep. Got Judge Jeanine confirmed? Yep. Let's do it. So it wasn't like he woke up one morning and said, I'm sick of seeing these homeless people in Washington. Notice you hardly heard anybody talking about them today either. Never, you didn't talk about the vagrants all over the place. No, you're worried about the National Guard.
From D.C. council members.
We are, Pamela and Wolf. This coming into CNN from Council Member Charles Allen of the 6th Ward in D.C. His post is, quote, the president taking over local control of MPD and putting the U.S. military onto the streets of D.C. under the guise of public safety is wrong. It's an extreme, outrageous, and dangerous move for our city and the safety.
Why is it dangerous for the city? When I was listening to him, I was like, the two people on set aren't going to ask him, how is it dangerous to the city? I don't know if any of you have ever been to Rome. Robin and I went to Rome for a vacation. It was my first trip to Europe. And when you get to Rome, there's something you notice immediately. I don't know what it looks like now with all the immigrants that they let in, but when we went there, there was something you noticed right away. Like, what? Why are these soldiers in the airport carrying automatic weapons? I don't know. Maybe it's an anomaly. Okay, what do you want to do? Let's go check in the hotel and let's take the subway over to the Coliseum. Hey, why are there guys with submachine guns here in the subway? It's clean. I feel safe. Maybe that's why he's here. Okay, all right. Let's go to the Coliseum, honey. Hey, when you come off the subway, there's all these guys with submachine guns just walking around. And then it dawns on you. They're there to make sure nobody messes with you. Did I feel unsafe? No, just the opposite. I felt really safe. I'm like, this is how it is? Don't mess around in Rome. No, don't do it because they'll take you out. And everywhere we went, we would see soldiers and the policier, or how you pronounce it. They were there too, but the thing that your eye caught was, this dude's got a submachine gun. And you don't see anybody, none of the knuckleheads were around back then. And we were from the Coliseum, and we did this, and we went here, and went other places, and they were everywhere. So how does it make it more dangerous? Dangerous for who? The criminals? Yeah, it's definitely more dangerous for the criminals. You got men out there, women too, who are armed to the hilt, who will not let you do what you normally do. But how's it dangerous for us? Yeah, we're all taking like selfies with them, like. These guys in here with with their big guns. I'm like, oh, damn. If any of you guys been to Rome, let me know. And then you get to the Vatican. It started as one of the greatest days of my life until undercovers and idiots screwed it up. It's dangerous for that guy to change a light bulb. Change a light bulb. Oh, it's so crazy. That is so crazy. But yeah, I mean, those fluffs always look the same. I was stationed in Rota, Spain in '76. Their police all carried automatic weapons. You feel, I don't know what happened, and they decide they're going to let all these newcomers in, completely screw up their country. But for the most part, when we went, it wasn't like that yet, and I felt very, very safe, really safe. Like, I remember we were out late. We got to take, and normally you'd go, I ain't taking the subway. It's late, honey. Let's go ahead and call a cab or something. And a guy from the restaurant's like, you're good. Really? Yeah. So we went, and it was well lit. And there were guys walking around with submachine guns. I'm like, honey, I think we're okay. I think it's okay. What's dangerous? Why are you worried about the criminals? Because that's the only people it's dangerous to.
Of all of our residents. He's the first city council member to react to this whole thing. None of them had reacted really last week to this in any real measure. This is the first time a city council member has reacted and come out strongly on this. We're also reaching out to Mayor Muriel Bowser's office and the office of the Metropolitan Washington Police Department for their response. We started to reach out to them while this news conference was going on. No word back from them yet. The mayor has been fairly muted in her comments on this. She did speak out yesterday in an interview, but did not openly criticize the president for this. It's an extraordinary move. We have to point out, never before in American history has a U.S. president taken over control of the Metropolitan Washington, D.C. Police Department. How is this going to work on the streets? How is it going to work from a command and control standpoint? That is a huge, huge question. And of course,
I don't care. I have pretty much faith and confidence, and Pete Hegseth has already gamed this out. I pretty much feel really confident that they're going to know how to do it. Who are you? You're sitting in the set on CNN with the Capitol behind you, so I assume you're in Washington. You're in a guarded building. You're in a building that requires access codes and IDs to get into different floors. I was telling you guys the other day about studios. You just can't walk into a television studio. You basically got to get bent over in the magnifying glass all the way around. And yet they're the ones sitting up in these studios going, I don't know how this is going to work. This could be awful. No, for who? Answer the question. For who will it be awful for?
His threat to do this in other cities. We'll see how that plays out. I think you got to see how it works.
There you go again. His threat to do this in other cities. They are completely terrified. Now they know he's going to do it. They're just letting everybody else know how he's going to roll this out to other cities. It's coming. Again, you can't stop it. Personally, I feel it sucks that he had to do this. I don't want to see people walking around in Washington, D.C. with long guns. But I also don't want to see people destroying that whole city, and Baltimore, and Detroit, and St. Louis. And the only people that you have to blame at this point, which they're taking none of it, is the Democrats. Why have you allowed it to continue? I would love for one of these people on one of these platforms to come out and say, why did you let it get this way? What was your reasoning for letting these places turn into hellholes? They will never answer that, because to them, it's no big deal. It's the Negroes shooting each other, so, it's all right. But they can't answer that simple question. You want to do a report, CNN? You want to do a report, MSNBC? Simply tell us why you never cleaned it up. Forget all the histrionics and being worried about Trump. Just answer that question. Why did it have to be Trump? Nobody's got an answer for that.
Plays out here first.
Right, and we should also note that he talked about moving the homeless population in D.C., right. Thousands of people.
Yes.
Far.
All right, so now you're worried about the homeless. These people have been sleeping everywhere. You can watch television shows where they portray people sleeping everywhere. They're put in movies. They're put in television shows. Everybody knew it. And not all of them are just regular homeless. Some of them are crazy. Why did you never clean it up? Why are you stepping over people to get to places? Why? That's a question every liberal should have to answer. Why didn't you do it yourself? Why did you have to wait till he did it? Don't know. Hochul lives upstate and New York could care less about downstate. Those losers, news reporters make statements but never elaborate. They weren't worried at all. If in your own neighborhood, wherever it is that you live, if you went out and saw this stuff, I'm sure you would call people and say, can you get this cleaned up? There's some stuff over here. There's some guy out here and he's whipping his ding dong out and he's peeing all over the wall. Oh my God, he's defecating right there. They let it happen. How many videos are on X of somebody dropping trowel and taking a poop right in New York or poop right in San Francisco? The videos are there. It's not hard. You could probably Google man taking poop in New York City. Hey, you may not want to see it, but there's guys dropping trowel and taking a poop. And we share it and laugh at it, but at the same token, you're a person in charge of Washington, D.C. When you see the man taking a poop, how is that okay? It's disgusting. Your city is a sty, but you did nothing. We don't want it. Americans should be repulsed by how you've let these inner cities get to.
Chris, to be honest with you, I'm trying to hold my temper. I think there's an ongoing argument that he's having in his head with Black Lives Matter. There's an ongoing argument that he's having with the questions around criminal justice reform and police reform.
Every reason except the one reason. He must be mad at BLM. He must be mad because we want this reform and that. How about reform your city? You're trying to find reasons to say why Trump's doing what he's doing, except the most obvious one. You can look at this like Occam's razor. The easiest explanation is the actual explanation. Your city looks like crap. And you're twisting yourself saying it's Epstein deflection and it's this and BLM and How about just looking right here? The rest of us can see it and go, you got people pooping in the street, you got people getting gang robbed and stomped, and everything else is happening. How many videos do you need to see of somebody being stomped by a crew of people before you realize at this point, this can't go on? We can't have this animalistic activity. How many times? Maybe they don't watch it, they don't want you to see it. But when you see it and you see them almost kill a woman and slam her head into the concrete and she's a tourist, well, why? Well, she must have said something. It was her fault. There is nothing she could have said that should have caused them to do what they did. But it's got to be something else. It's got to be BLM, something.
It's interesting that he really doesn't really care about what's actually happening in D.C. on a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples of how to address rising crime rates that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to...
Wait a second. Hold on. Listen to what he just said. He's not addressing how to stop rising crime rates without policing. Why would he? Hey, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put big-ass tic-tac-toes in the street. And we're going to tell people, when you get a little bit angry, go play tic-tac-toe. Or maybe some hopscotch. Maybe Foursquare. What do you mean? He's not addressing the root cause. The root cause is you got idiots running around in your city. The root cause is you got hooligans doing different things. The root cause is that there's no dad in the home and these young boys are acting a fool because nobody's told them this ain't good. Root cause, it's easy to see the root cause. You got uneducated, impoverished, undisciplined black kids running around. You just don't want to admit it. You just don't want to take those things and say, We took the father out of the home. Mm-hmm. Took God out of schools and out of the home. Mm-hmm. And these people all sell drugs and stuff. Yeah. It must be somebody else's fault. Couldn't be theirs. It's got to be the white man's. That's got to be the white man who's oppressing them. You disgust me.
Increase in carcerality and the like. Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago, right? So part of what we have to do is to understand, and Oakland, we have to understand this, Chris, within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics and within the context of his effort to get Epstein off the front pages. I understand.
At some point, some leader should emerge. That leader in the Democrat Party should emerge and say, hey guys, look, we need to huddle, okay? Every play that we've been running, it ain't working. It's 2025. We can't keep talking about racism. It's just not going to work. It's 2025, and you can't keep talking about Epstein. It's not working. Definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Nothing you people are doing is working. So in that regard, I hope you continue doing it. Because until this party wakes up, they're dead. They're like Latin for a language. It's a dead language. Nobody speaks Latin. There's nothing you people can say at this point. You say the same stuff every single day. BLM, DEI, blacks, gays, LGBTQ, ISSIPPI, and Epstein. And the rest of the world's like, hey, you know what time the Bears game is tonight? Yeah, okay. It's football season, bro. Clean up your stuff. And by the way, we're going to change the name from the Washington Commanders back to the Redskins. Oh my God, he's going to do that too? Why is he even bothering? Because he can. Because it's called flooding the zone. They don't even realize that yet. Why would Trump be doing all this? Because he's got you chasing your tails. And the more time you're chasing your tail about Washington, you're not looking over here. And then if you do look over here, he's going to do something else tomorrow. You can count on it. It's Monday night. By Tuesday or Wednesday, here comes something else. Count on it. There's no doubt. He didn't do a deal with China. He extended it 90 days. So they're not even talking about it right now, but they'll talk about that tomorrow. Oh, China just beat up on Trump. And then what happens on Friday when he goes to meet Putin in Alaska? They can't keep up, and their usual shtick isn't working.
Understand David's point, but when we try to treat this as a rational response, then we lose sight of the actual politics that's being played here. And he's actually trying to give his base red meat to get them off of the Epstein story, and it's on the backs of citizens in Washington, D.C. He's going to
run with that, bro. Run with that all the way. Please do so. I can't even be mad at you. I hope you continue telling everybody you speak to that he's doing it because of Epstein. You're right. You got us. It's red meat for us MAGA people. But you know what? He told us. So you're trying to figure it out? And he told you a long time ago. Maybe you might want to look into some of those things he told you is coming. Maybe first and foremost, you may want to pay attention to one thing he said. That one thing he said when I'm going to obliterate the deep state. You know, that was a big one that he said. He said that. I'm going to obliterate the deep state. We talk about troops in Washington, D.C. He's like, I just authorized the Department of Defense to go after Mexico and the cartels. This man ain't playing. And you're playing. You're cosplaying as somebody on television, but you're not listening to what he's saying. Not at all.
undermine the democratic process in the district.
Increase in federal surveillance and guns on the streets really the answer here?
The guns are already on the street, Reverend. Right, Reverend? The guns are already there. Now, unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for some people in the media who actually live in D.C., some of these people are like, yeah, I know I'm on MSNBC, but damn, bro, this is good. I like this. Listen to this woman.
Rena.
Put it this way, Rev, it's a starting point. And I'm not somebody who says that lightly. I say that as somebody who has been a D.C. resident for nearly 2 decades. I have seen firsthand what D.C. has gone through post-pandemic, and it has been tough. And though crime may be down right now, it will come right back up because Mayor Muriel Bowser's leadership has failed time and time again. And I have...
I don't know if she's auditioning for a job at Fox or Newsmax or something. She's like, I got to get out of here. So I'm gonna say it like I see it. You know, Reverend Al was like, hey, you're supposed to be Trump hating here. You're not supposed to be saying he's right. Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm a young woman. I'm a pretty young woman. And I'm terrified of walking down the street of Washington, D.C. And I'm over it. I'm done being afraid. We need more people like that. We need more women. We need more men. Come out and say it. I am over it. Muriel Bowser is a piece of crap. She can't do anything. And I want to know that if I'm walking down the street and I've got jewelry on, I'm okay. And if it takes a guy with a submachine gun standing post, then I'm really okay. And Reverend Al doesn't even want to accept what this young woman is saying to him.
Given her a chance. Many people across the city have given her a chance to say, you can do better for us. You can keep our communities safer from violent carjackings that have resulted in deaths. Deaths on K Street, which is a business hub. Death of an Uber driver simply trying to deliver food in Navy Yard. These stick out to me because these aren't isolated incidents. It's just part and parcel with what comes with raising a young family in the nation's capital like I have. Those things she all mentioned are all fine and well, but none of it speaks to how safe Washington, D.C. actually is. It is not a safe city. It is not.
I don't think Reverend Al was ready for this one. That's probably while she's on screen because he's probably hitting his text and going, can you cut her mic? Cut the mic. Who brought this woman on? How did I get sandbagged like this? He didn't expect this.
Not a city that is well run because guess what? The minority seat on the council has never even been, in my recollection, for at least a decade and a half, if not more, been occupied by a member of a minority party. I'm talking about Republicans. So blame can be put everywhere. And I don't want to make this a partisan issue.
Oh, the two of them are like, can you stop, please? My fomenting at the mouth audience here is not liking this at all. Come on, Miss Latina. Can you please stop here? We can't take this anymore.
My heart sinks when I think of the countless young people who are committing these crimes, boys as young as 14. We know there's a fatherlessness crisis, but I am saying this. The mayor needs to acknowledge that the city has failed, and she has had many chances to prove she can do better. The council has had many chances to prove they can do better.
But is it the mayor's job or the president's job?
I had to leave that in there. Huh? Is it the mayor's job or is it the president's job? It's the mayor's job until she is found out to be a failure and he has to take over. Is it the mayor's job or is it the president's job?
But do you feel safe here?
I feel safe in this city. I live in a neighborhood.
Because I look over my shoulder every day.
Well, maybe you look over your shoulder, but I'll tell you something. Here are 2 things that could be done to make this city safer. $1.1 billion was stolen from D.C. in the last budget bill. Give us that money back. We are down 400 police officers from last year.
From last year, okay.
And 900 from our peak because stealing our money away. So let's get our local.
It had nothing to do with defunding the police.
No, it had nothing to do with defunding
the. John Roberts is calling on the guy. It's like, hey man, this was your idea. You guys cut the budget, not Trump. He's only been here since January. The budget is run by you people. But wait till you hear what he says here.
Police had to taking our money away, our taxpayer dollars here. If people are afraid to come to D.C., go to Disney World, get fat, eat French fries. I don't care. I've lived here.
If you're afraid to come to D.C., don't come. That's the answer. This man went on television and told people, if you're afraid to be here, don't come. Go to Disney World. Okay, honey, book the tickets to Orlando, okay? Because I know we'll be safe there. And the guy who works in the city just told us, don't come here if you're afraid. What kind of message is that? Listen again, because when you hear this, you're like, huh? Did he really just say that?
Got our local. It had nothing to do with defunding the police.
No, it had nothing to do with defunding the police. It had to taking our money away, our taxpayer dollars here. If people are afraid to come to D.C., go to Disney World, get fat, eat French fries. I don't care. I've lived here.
You heard that yesterday when I played that crazy liberal woman when she said you're not supposed to go into Chinese restaurants or Japanese restaurants or Mexican restaurants. You need to go to Cracker Barrel and just stay fat. They just have this idea in their head and they can't get out of it that everybody in MAGA is just some fat tard that just goes into Cracker Barrel or some all-you-can-eat buffet. And if you're afraid to come here, then don't come here. Man, Ron DeSantis should put that on a billboard somewhere. If you're afraid in Washington, D.C., don't come here, go to Disney World. He actually just said that. You've got a major football team, a major basketball team, a major baseball team, major hockey team, and you're telling people, don't come. You might be afraid, but if you're afraid, just get out of here. Go to Orlando. When I heard that, I almost didn't make any more video, no more to talk about, because when I saw that, I realized at that point, these people were waving a huge white flag. They got nothing. Don't even come. If you're afraid, don't come here. How could you tell people that? Instead of cleaning up, if you're afraid, we can help you. No, don't even come.
37 years. I am not afraid. I live in the city. I'm not afraid of this city. If you're afraid, go ahead. Leave your fears someplace else.
During the discussion.
That's where we are at this point with the Democrat Party. That's where we have come to. That's the juncture we are now at. I've got nothing to help you. I've got nothing to ease your fears. Just don't come. Just, sorry. This is how we live. Wow. Wow. Like I told you, these people have nothing. There's nothing that they can do at this point. All they can do is be mad and say stupid stuff like that. You should be crawling on your knees saying, please come. Please fill the football stadium. Please fill the basketball arena. Please fill the baseball stadium. Please come to restaurants. Please go to concerts. Please stay in the hotels. Please come. Nope, you don't like it. Too effing bad. Wow. So he doesn't care about anyone else. Nope, that was a perfect Democrat response at that point. If you didn't hear it, you probably wouldn't have realized it. You probably wouldn't believe it if I told you, don't come. That's my answer. What a marketing slogan. You don't like it? Too effing bad. I love Qatar Cracker Barrel sourdough toast. Their minds are exploding to empty brains. Yeah, because they've got no rhetoric. There's nothing to retort. They all know it's a hellhole. And now they've been called out and a microscope has been put over it. And they don't know what to do. Not at all. I got one more of these before I get to the actual people. Now, this guy is one of the congressmen, and he also works with the police of Washington. You're not going to believe this.
Residents did not hold back, voicing their frustrations.
I blame the system.
Many questioning why kids aren't being held accountable.
We as a city and a community need to be much more focused on prevention and surrounding young people and their families with resources if we want to be safer in the long run. We cannot prosecute and arrest our way out of it.
We completely.
You got one job. That's your only job. We can't prosecute or arrest our way out of it. Huh? That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You don't have any other job. Your job is to keep people safe. Your job is to make sure when people are walking down the street or calling an Uber or a woman's walking down the street in a dress that they're okay. And we can't arrest our way out of this. We can't do any kind of prosecutions that are going to fix this. They're waving the white flag. They've completely surrendered. And the worst part about it is wait till it changes in 30 days. The genius of what President Trump is doing is if the riffraff, criminals, bad element is taken out of Washington, D.C., and people find it to be a place where they can live and work, call home. Wow, this is nice, man. We live in a very nice city here. Hey, honey, why don't we move to Washington, D.C.? You see what's coming, don't you? You see what's coming. The guy was a real estate developer. He understands there's some prime area in Washington, D.C. The only thing that's keeping this area from being prime is the crime. So if you get rid of the crime and people start feeling like, hey, we can come here? Yeah. And by the way, with Zoran the Great running for mayor up in New York, what do you think people in New York may want to go? If it gets cleaned up where they're like, hey, man, you mean I can get a nice penthouse down here? Yeah. Still have my inner city culture that I like? Yeah. It's safe? Yeah. Who owns a building in New York? I'm just saying. Nobody's pointing this stuff out. Nobody's pointing out the fact that there are options here for people who want to do business. And they're not even understanding what could possibly happen and how things could be made so much nicer.
I agree with the president that crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done with it. We have to go back to how we got here, though. In 2020, the D.C. City Council passed an enormous amount of legislation that handcuffed police officers, exposes them to administrative, civil, and even criminal liability, even when they do their jobs properly. And now, 5 years later, our authorized sworn strength is 4,000 sworn police officers. We currently have 3,180. So we have more than 800 vacancies for the position of police officer. And the way the department makes up for that gap is through 2 million hours of mandatory overtime every year. So the fact that we need help from federal law enforcement and maybe even the National Guard, it shouldn't come as a surprise, and we agree with that. I think one of the issues here, though, is that we all know that's going to be temporary. So in order to fix this problem and make sure that it doesn't ebb and flow and that the feds come in and we lower crime and then they leave and we're left holding the bag, it's very important that people know that there is underlying legislation that needs to be corrected so that we can actually properly staff this police department in order to properly police the city.
There is a crime.
All right, so that's when they come back. When they come back from break, there's going to be some legislation that says we need to change this. We need to change that. And he is going to push this through. He is going to make sure that these people understand, without any equivocation, that we need to get this stuff codified. I'm going to come in here for 30 days, which coincides with you guys coming back. Get it done. Look at how life is for you. You're walking around Washington. You're a senator. You're a congressman, congresswoman. Like, wow, what'd y'all do while we were gone? Clean it up. So here's Judge Janine talking about what needs to happen.
Emergency in D.C. And, people say, well, crime is down from last year. Well, so what? Last year, crime was too high. We had the fourth largest, highest homicide rate in the nation. I mean, so let's stop, namby-pambying this. What we've got in this great city, and the president has a constitutional obligation to make sure that this city is safe. And he's doing just that by today deploying the National Guard Guard and making sure that there is enough armed forces, enough forces with the DEA, the FBI, the ATF, the National Guard, to make sure that we send a message to young people and criminals throughout the district that we are watching you, that it's not going to be the same old, that we are taking crime seriously, because you know, just like I know, if you live in this area, that there are too many young people committing crimes. They're emboldened to commit crimes because they know they're too young to be arrested. If you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you shoot someone in the District of Columbia, I cannot prosecute you. And I'm not just talking about federal crimes. I'm talking about my job as a local DA. Unless you kill that person, I cannot handle the case at all. And young people know it. And that's
that's the problem. They know the laws. They understand you can't touch me. So here's my fear. My fear with Washington, D.C. The police presence is going to be heavy in the tourist, commerce, hospitality areas. Going to be very tough. They're going to make sure people can go back and forth to their cars, go back and forth to movies, go back and forth to residences, hotels. What's going to happen in the outskirts? Because that's where they're going to scurry. They're going to take their drug activity and they're going to go into the shadows. And you're still going to see some people getting wasted. Because now they're going to be fighting for territory back there somewhere. And so President Trump is going to have to get these forces into the other neighborhoods to choke this stuff out. That's going to be where it might get a little dangerous, because these people are going to have to be forced to stop. They're not going to lay down. There's way too much money, which probably gets kicked around to some of these people in the politics arena. So just watch what happens over the next 10, 14 days. It's going to get real safe in certain areas, and you might see some craziness happening outside of that.
We had an intern who went out for ice cream who got shot in the chest last month, an intern in college. We had another individual who was beat down, and but for the grace of God, a cop car drove by, he would have been beaten more severely. He had a broken nose and a severe concussion. 12 and 13-year-old trying to break into the car with a woman in the car that he was trying to protect. And we've got young people in this city. I named them on a bulletin board that I'm happy to show you, who have been murdered with guns, where there isn't even a prosecution because the shooters haven't been found or they're too young. So it's about time we recognize that this is something that is sorely needed. And the decision by the president to restore law and order is one that I would think that most law-abiding citizens in D.C. would be very happy about.
All right, so I showed you that as the last one because I got to show you like what some of the people said. And there are actually some reporters who went out and started talking to people, the actual residents. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think they said? What do you think most of the residents said about there being an increased presence for police activity to try and make it safer? Is there anyone in the chat who says, nah, I'd like to keep it dangerous. I like living on the edge. I like knowing if my daughter is walking down the street and she's got a skirt on, that somebody might, be thinking some evil things about her. If my son is in an Uber and, I like, no, of course not. It sounds crazy. I was being facetious, but who wants to live in crime? Nobody. And by the way, that goes for white people, black people, Hispanic people, and it even goes for most of the newcomers. People don't want to put their lives in danger. Self-sufficiency, self-preservation is number one from every human walking the streets. Nobody wants it. It's universal. There's not a single person that says, wish I could move into a more dangerous area. You know anybody who would do that? You know anybody who says that? There's not enough action around here. I'm not hearing enough bullet shots going around. Oh, there's an area here in South Florida, and We looked at a house in there because it's like, hey man, look at this. Oh, this is incredible. It's on a golf course. Wow, that house has 7,000 square feet. And then you realize where it is. You're like, a half a mile in any direction, and you're in a war zone. You are in an absolute war zone. Helicopters flying around at night. All kinds of crazy stuff. They're trying to take it back. That area is probably going to be blossoming a year from now. But man, is it rough. And the undercovers and the gang units trying to stop it. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. And the Democrats they don't care. They absolutely don't care. All right, let me talk to you about the Trump, just the new signatory knife, right? Yeah, signatory knife by Patriot Addict. Patriot Addict is one of our partners here, and I want to show you this new knife that they have. This new knife that many of you have ordered, and if you haven't, you have your chance. This is this Trump signature knife. It looks almost exactly the same in terms of construction as the Trump red knife. But this is the Trump signature knife. And let me pull it out so I can show it to you. Here's the knife. And it says Trump 4547. Almost identical except for the colors and two other things. One, this nice knife also has a stencil in it with President Trump's signature right there. And also, I don't know what they did for this blade. It is much, much sharper. Be very careful. If you get this, if you've already ordered it, be careful. It is so sharp. It also has the quick release, and it also has the different things to close it quickly. It's got the window breaker. It's got the seat belt. Seat belt cutter if you need it. Hopefully you'll never need that. But if you need to carry it on your sidearm or something, there's a clip for it right there. This knife usually retails for about $70. You can get this knife for free. All you've got to do is pay shipping and handling. Shipping, I believe, is about $14, $15. Maybe some of the people in chat can tell you what the shipping has been. But it's free. Just $14, $15 to ship it. Normally sells for $70, and you can get it. Just go to the QR code right there. Go there, and you can go ahead and purchase it. And it comes pretty quick. You won't have to do a whole lot of waiting for it. And it's free. Did I say the word free? Did I say free? It's free. Just pay shipping. And this is just for you guys here in the Fanfare family, because we care about you and we like you. And these guys from Patriot Addict have been helping us so much as we go through and do our show here. So please feel free to purchase that. All right, let's take some comments before I continue. See, I missed the hoodie giveaways. We were going to do t-shirts in the summer, and I was like, you know what, let's just wait till it gets a little bit cooler and start doing the hoodies again. Ashley's probably going to scream, no! I feel sorry for the older folks that live in these areas and keep their homes well kept. They lived there for years and can't come out. Exactly. Love Pittsburgh. Need to get some crypto money to go see my Pittsburgh Penguins. Yes. Okay. What else we got? I was in Mazelton in mid-'80s, and their federales are on the beach. Yeah, they're everywhere. For sure. So pretty much the OG lady speaker needs her slums untouched. It's racism to them. I've heard that for so long. I've heard that trope from people who manage and govern inner cities. It is so weak. It's racism if you try to clean it up. Really? Because they're going to have to arrest some black people is what they're saying. Think about it. It's only racist because you might have to arrest a lot of black kids. Which tells you about your city. You can bet your butt if it was a bunch of white bikers, they'd have no problem. They'd have no problem if it was a bunch of white bikers that they had to arrest. Go get Bubba here. Get Bubba, take him away. We don't care. But because they know what's going to happen, they are considering it racist. instead of fixing your damn communities. Just absolutely insane. The movie for tonight, I can't do it. I don't have, Dawn, I don't have the clearance for it yet, so I'm going to hopefully I should have it tomorrow. I'll be working on it, and we'll do that. All right, so let's finish up. I guess I won't be doing the jump over tonight because of that. So, long day, two big shows. This one will be about 2 hours too before we're done. So let's continue. Now we're going to hear from some people.
From drug deals
at a shooting here 2 days ago
to bullets flying not far from where kids were playing at the Kennedy Rec Center.
What can we do to make sure that it's safe for the kids?
Neighbors from the Shaw, Mount Vernon Square, and Mount Vernon Triangle neighborhoods say they're fed up.
In the past 4 weeks, we've had 3 shootings.
Stephen McCarty is the ANC for the area. He organized this week's public safety walk.
We need to bring everyone together because this is happening here.
On hand to hear their concerns, D.C. Police 3rd District Commander Sean Connors.
And I can tell you right now, we have less shootings here than we had at this point in time.
He told them that by the numbers, crime is down. In fact, D.C. police say crime is down across the entire city.
Does anyone here actually think that?
But if you ask these D.C. neighbors,
it shows such a lack and disconnect between what you're trying to sell versus what we're experiencing.
Their perception.
All right, so these aren't Trump supporters. These are residents and going, hey, stop trying to blow smoke up my butt. We can't live like this. Hey, well, you know it's actually down from last year. I don't care. Am I supposed to be okay that only 25 people got killed instead of like 30? Well, that's a 20% drop. The only thing dropping are bodies. Do something. You see, he's got the wrong color, and the other guy, well, he's gay. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're afraid, go to Orlando. Get out of here.
How they feel is unsafe.
Some shots, some bangs. We've seen police officers running in all directions.
I almost feel a little desensitized to it in a way because it seems to be of the norm. It's actually pretty scary that these teenagers own guns and that they are in the neighborhood shooting guns. If they're...
Who did the people at CNN and MSNBC talk to? Who did they go out? No one. They all looked around the studio and decided they were going to interview each other. They didn't go see the people. Hey, man, this is crazy. We're getting desensitized. We're getting used to hearing people get shot. Is that how you want people to live? Trump's not making it up. They're not making it up. MSNBC and CNN are making it up. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. It's not that bad. But the people obviously think otherwise.
Able to do that, then I think there's no problem with that because there are pockets in D.C. that are significantly out of control. We have school zones that are drug-infested neighborhoods.
Mixed reaction from the community, but they all agree on one thing. Something must be done to decrease crime.
So starting today at 12 giant grocery stores.
Okay, so you're going to love this one. This one here, you know, there's nothing wrong. Everything is fine. So if everything is fine, what's wrong here? Wait till you hear this.
In D.C. and Maryland, if you have a bag over 14 inches, you cannot take it inside the store. So what does that look like? Here's a backpack, 14 inches. This one can't go in. Also, if you're under 18 years old, you cannot go into the store after 6 p.m. without an adult.
How is that any way to live? If you're under 16, unless your parents here, you can't even go in the store. You can't even shop here. But Mom sent me over to get some flour and sugar. No, Mom should have came with you. But I'm just here to pick up some flour, eggs, and milk. Nope, sorry, you can't even come in. But hey, don't worry about it. Everything's fine in the D.C. area. There's nothing to worry about. Then why are the stores making moves like this? Why are the stores saying you can't bring in a bag and can't come in at all after 6 p.m.? How is that any way to live?
Store leaders say it is all because of thieves, and shoppers we spoke to say all these new rules, these are a small price to pay.
It's a private business. They can set their own rules.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like it, shop somewhere else. It would also keep prices down for us as a consumer. And I think the stores are...
They're going to keep prices down because knuckleheads are not going to be able to steal as much. So the stores and businesses are having to act on their own because the mayors and the government aren't acting. Don't come in here with a backpack and don't come in here after 6 o'clock. We got to do that to save our own business because those people over there who sit in those offices aren't helping us. God help us if people expect that's okay to live that way. That is no way to live. Not at all.
Trying to do the best that they can to help the consumer out. And if that's what it takes, then that's what they have to do.
I'm for anything that works. If it makes anything better for the community, and if it works for the kids to keep the kids from coming in, I think because you should teach the kids not to steal.
Oh my gosh. And she's black. We gotta teach the kids not to steal. We're in big trouble. We're in big trouble when you have to tell kids 14, 15, 16, and 17, don't steal. It's bad. It's bad to steal stuff. Where were their parents? How did you grow up like undisciplined wolves? But it's racist. It's racist to point out these kids don't know they shouldn't be stealing. These kids don't know that they shouldn't be dealing drugs. But we're the racist, we're the maggots for pointing it out. It makes no sense. It is completely helter-skelter. It's completely nuts. You're having to teach young adults, basically adults, don't steal, it's bad. What? Where's your mom and dad? Doesn't make any sense. If we're at a point right now where there are legions of kids running around these inner cities who don't know it's bad to steal, I don't even think the National Guard is going to help because they've missed a decade or so of proper development. How do you course correct that? How do you course correct the people beating on people in the street like mobs and stomping people's heads? How do you course correct all those people? How do you course correct someone who takes a woman's face and throws it into the ground? How do you do it? I think we've lost a generation, especially a generation of young black people. They don't understand you can't do this. So we're going to have to train them. In addition to prosecuting them, that's not going to work because you're not going to put them in jail forever and then they're just going to come out again. They have to be retrained. You can't do this. Why not? I always did that.
So
simple, right?
Yeah, anything that works for the community and everybody else.
It's unfortunate because apparently a lot of theft has been happening, and that's the reason why. So they got to do something. Otherwise, we won't have a Giant. So to prevent... Giant was the name of the supermarket. If they don't do something, the supermarket is going to leave. I got my first one of the evening here. Sandra goes, yeah, white kids steal also. Hey, Sandra, go look at demographics. Go look at the largesse of the problem. Go look at the kids who are doing this stuff in the streets and tell me what percentage of them are non-black. Sure, sure, there are some white kids who steal also. What's the number? What if you say that? I hope you're saying to me, well, I know that the number is about, 1% white? Okay. There's no number you're going to go find anywhere that's going to tell you that there's not a problem in the black community. I'm sorry. You need to swallow that. You need to understand that. That's a fact. From closing, I don't blame them. They got to do what they got to do.
When I heard the news today, and he mentioned my son, not by name, and mentioned the others who have been victims of violent crime, I was so happy. And I looked at Eric's stashes, and I said, Eric, you haven't died in vain. Things will change so other people are safe when they go visit DC or work in DC. And that's my goal, to make people safe. And they were all, President Trump was 100% spot on with what he said.
We've been talking.
Hurts, man. It really hurts to find out that her son was killed because these Nimrods couldn't maintain themselves. It's absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. Let them have it with both barrels. Those are the people. Those are the people who they're saying, no, it's not a big deal. No, it's okay. Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking. Makes you just empathize with that. Walter says, I'm a big guy, but I still keep on guard whenever I go out at night. Yeah, that's sad. It's very sad. Let's see, I stole one piece of gum when I was about 8, and my mom made me take it back. Yep, that happened to me too. I stole Green Army Men. I came home with the Green Army Men. Where'd you get that? They gave it to me. March your ass back there and bring it back and say you're sorry. Little did I know at the time that they saw me steal it, and they called her. Back in the day. It's time for Trump to clean house. Absolutely. Where'd that go? It's wrong to steal, and parents and grandparents should teach their children and grandchildren before they even get into kindergarten. Yeah, completely. Agree with you. Let's see. People are making it a race issue. These kids should be held accountable. Exactly. All right. It's beyond one-parent households, especially when the one parent is working online or an OnlyFans person. Oh, this was good. Gloria says, I managed a Dollar General in Nebraska for years. When a group of kids come in backpacks and left at the register and only 3 at a time in the store, the kids all knew this. We had no issues. All you have to do is look at who's stealing during the riots. Out of 1,000 looting, 998 will be young black kids. Yeah. Sorry. It hurts. It absolutely hurts. The race card isn't going to work anymore. Nope, we're immune to that. I used to steal candy, and when my dad found out if I ate it, I would have to pay twice for the candy. Well, yeah, there were things we had to learn. I voted for everything President Trump has done and is doing. That's what they don't understand. Now, here again, to close, is another anchor. This one's on ABC. And well, you'll hear what she has to say.
So much about the numbers, and yeah, usually that's how you play devil's advocate, is you talk about, oh, well, stats say crime is down. However, I can tell you firsthand here in downtown DC where we work, right here around our bureau, just in the past 6 months, there were 2 people shot. One person died, literally 2 blocks down here from the bureau. It was within the last 2 years that I actually was jumped walking just 2 blocks down from here. And then just the
They don't want to bring her on CNN. Hey, listen, I was jumped 2 blocks from here. I couldn't walk 2 blocks in Washington, D.C. Thank God all she got was, mugged. Thank God that's all that happened to her. I'm sure she was terrified. But the people in D.C. say it's not that bad.
This morning, one of my coworkers said her car was stolen a block away from the bureau. So we can talk about the numbers going down, but crime is happening every single day because we're all experiencing it firsthand while working and living down here.
And these are the people that they didn't talk to. These are the people that they didn't want to bring in. She's in the news business. And they didn't want to talk to her. Simply amazing. Yeah, Leslie, some of the media is beginning to push back. Yep. Especially a woman who got mugged. I got mugged on my way home. I couldn't walk 2 blocks away. What do you say to somebody like that? It's Trump. What a nightmare. Yeah, exactly. Very scary. All right, everybody, like I said, Jilly Bean. Oh, that's right. SV sent it to me. Look at this. Muriel Bowser makes $250,000 a year. Wow. $250,000. That's, and you fail. You fail. You're not even good at what you do. Something wrong with that, man. There's something really, really wrong with that. All right, let me do the super chats. Like I said, I don't have the movie. I'm hoping I have it. I will have it tomorrow. I know what I get. I know I will contact them and say, get me the damn rights to the movie so I can show it. And we will reconvene about it tomorrow. All right, so Trudy Sexton, thank you. Dark journalist fan, those idiots made a movie on Netflix that featured a civil war where a president that looked like President Trump was killed at the White House, aimed at their base to do that if Trump got elected again. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Trudy Saxton, Barry, and Bob, the best show ever. Thank you so much. I wish I had the movie to continue, but they didn't give it to me. Wow, Patrick Kildea, President Trump is channeling Audie Murphy. The only way to win is lead from the front. Thank you very much. Just a Girl, thank you. Buddy Sanders, went to D.C. with grandkids. We left after one night because it wasn't safe. Eric Sims, keep up the good work, Brother Barry. Thank you. Larry, how do I see your movie night films? I will post them. I'm going to begin posting an actual schedule of things. But I look for the J.D. Vance movie tomorrow night. B.F. Thompson, thank you, Barry, for always making good sense. Thank you for watching. Planet Fatness. What scares me is a potential President AOC or another nut job using climate change emergency as an excuse to federally take over statehood and cities. They can't get back in power. They can't do it. Dave Rattan, do they hear what's coming out of their pie hole, or do they just read the script they're given? It is 9 o'clock, and I'm sure if you tuned on any of these channels tonight, it's everywhere. All they're doing is complaining. Not making any sense. Dave Rattan, thank you again. If you don't clean it up, it's racist. Judy Bradley, thanks for all you do. Called Lear Capital, was told not taking orders for silver under 5,000. I don't think that's true, Judy. There's no way somebody said, go find somebody else to buy it. Come on. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Put it this way. You send me your email, and you send me the correspondence where somebody told you go someplace else. Where's that? Danielle Stroud. Where was that? What happened here? There it is. Danielle Stroud. Thank you, Barry. I just got my account approved and can start trading. All right. Never thought I would try this at my age. Danielle, be safe. Take your time. Learn. Talk to other people who are actually doing it. And just have fun with it. Just only put in what you can afford to lose, just in case. Don't go balls to the wall. Even if you make some money, just let it ride. Do what you need to do, but don't go crazy. We don't want you losing money and then going, what the hell happened here? But good for you. All right, tomorrow, as you heard today, what's her name? Caroline Levitt says she's going to be doing a press conference. More than likely, that'll be at 1 o'clock. So that means 12:30. I will be going live. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow.